Hello, welcome again, possibly, or if not, then welcome to the page. Van, need work. And a few people who have chatted to me through whatever means, forums or whatever, they've kind of wanted more in-depth detail to what I do when I do these vans, and because this one's doing such good mileage and it drives so well and stuff like that, people are sort of inspired, I guess, by how am I doing it. So today the reason I'm working on it is because I'm going to a thing called Van Life and Outlanders. It's like a festival in England that just allows people to turn up and listen to music and go to stalls and all that sort of stuff. And seeing as there's going to be probably hundreds of really nice vehicles, I thought I'd better get this to blend in slightly. At the moment it's usable as a works van, but I wouldn't say it's exactly pretty. But there's loads of other stuff I've got to do as well. There's servicing, there's checking the underneath to make sure everything's okay under there. Just get on with it, I guess, innit? The window wiper's just, wow, had it, past its time, past its due date. Anyway, and then we're going to do bodywork again, because going to this Van Life Festival thing I'm going to, I need to look somewhat respectable. So I'm actually going to fill some holes rather than leave them, and try and make the thing look like a respectable vehicle rather than just a workhorse. So today we're doing a cold dump, if you can call it that. Basically, I was going to do the oil change yesterday when I got back from a job, but I was shattered. So I thought, you know what, I'll bring it up here. I don't usually do a cold dump, but I don't really want to sit here idling a van, waiting for it to warm up in this enclosed environment, even with the doors open, really. It's fine, you can do it, so if you've got a garage, don't feel like I'm telling you not to do it. You can do it, it's not a problem, but I'd just rather not. It doesn't make much difference, I change my oil regularly. They've got a filter for a reason, and all of the stuff's going to go down anyway, so doing it once in every 10 isn't going to hurt. So I'm going to do that, and I can roll the van back a bit, get onto my pit properly, because it's like small garage, large vehicle syndrome. It's not easy, so you have to keep manoeuvring things around. So get that done, and we'll walk you through it. Actually, I will show you, just in case some people do ask me. So when I do this, I pull the dipstick out, pull the cap off. Right, I've got the old drip board down. Piece of ply, useful. Works a treat if you ever spill. Doesn't go all over me. Carpeted garage. Don't ask. It was like it when I moved in. And actually it's quite nice on the knees, so I don't mind it so much. Baby, come back. Do 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 do. Don't do that. Behave yourself. Get back on the thing. If you're wondering why I've took this out and now I'm going to put it back in, is because this doesn't actually hold enough to empty this, which isn't great, I'll admit, but at the moment it's what I got. Dirty, 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 dirty. I don't know what I'm doing. Go under. Go under the van. Day 2 in the venture of trying to make this van look somewhat realistic. We're going to start at the roof, work our way down. Oh yes, a full thing of paint on a ladder that I'm climbing with things falling on my head. Perfect. Dooby-doo! Dooby-doo! Of course I'm bodging it. We don't have that round here. Doing it properly. Oh, it's bright up here. Crikey. Breathe in paint fumes. Now I feel great. Paint fumes are awesome. I think I actually breathed in some paint fumes during the moment of my chorus. Experimental painting, take 2. I'm leaving the hole. I like painting my van like it's a wall. Painting my van. Come on, open you. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. Nice thick coat. So I've decided to just go over this front bumper. There's little things like this, you see how rough it looks and stuff. It's never been very good, this bumper. And I've always wanted to do it, but then I thought, well, what's the point? Well, here I am. So there obviously is a point, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. Anyway, so for this one though, I am going to be using spray paint. Now, because there's already paint on it, and it's plastic and stuff, and the paint is actually quite rough, all I've done is quickly gone over it with 180 grit. I'm just going to put a silver coat over it, and then clear coat. And the reason for that is because, one, I don't think the paint would look as good. I want this to be a little bit more of a permanent fix on the sides, which, you know, I'll be touching the sides up all the time, so that's fine. I want this to be a bit more of a permanent fix because obviously all this masking takes a long time and stuff. And I want it to look good. So it'll be the case that I will actually use a spray can and also probably a coat of clear coat as well, just to protect it. I'll likely do 2 coats of that, and then 1 coat of clear coat. I think I might have old paint syndrome happening here. See how it's all dark? I've just done a press test with some cardboard because there was a big drip in it. But it's like done it all the way up here as well. And I'm starting to think that maybe I just forgot to clean this off properly, but I mean, it wasn't like there was any chemicals on it in the first place, you know? So it must be the spray. Don't worry about the bad masking. These are going black in a bit. But yeah, in some places it's come out fine, but yeah, I don't know. I think I started over here and went over here, so I'm assuming that the spray can is just not spraying very well. But it should come out fine. Famous last words. Fingers crossed, though. Good news is, it doesn't look too bad. Just don't look any closer than this, please. That would be great. Anyway, it's fine. I mean, it's better than it was. That's the good thing with having vehicles that are old. You don't have to full-arse them, you can half-arse them. And that's exactly what I'm doing with this fan. It's not great. You know, if you're watching this and think, oh, there's that little bit on my car, but I'm worried about starting it, just go start it. The main thing is, if you're working outside, is just to not leave it bare metal. That's the main thing. Other than that, just go sand it down and do a few bits. I mean, there's so many videos on YouTube now that demonstrate how to do things, and I mean, in a way this demonstrates it, but not correctly. Obviously, I'm not doing this right. Going back to the original reason that I'm trying it out like this, where is it? I've lost it. Ah, there. This can did just that bumper. Right? This tub, I've used about 2% of it, and I did all the sides and the roof. And what else did I do? Oh, that's it. Just both sides and the roof, and I used less, I'd say, of that than I did that. Because you see, in these, let's say this is a 400 mil, I think. Yeah, so you can see it's a 400 mil. In that 400 mil, you've got, I don't know what the percentage is, maybe a 30-70 mix. It's 30% paint in that instance, and like 70% thinners, because it has to be, you know, it has to come out of the aerosol can. So you're only getting, for every, let's say you spend a tenner on that, you're only getting 150 to 200 mils of paint, whereas with that, you're probably spending, what did I spend? I think I put £100 into that 5 litres, so you do the maths. 48.6. I did the maths, I did all the calculation-y thingies on my phone, and it is cheaper. So I did that, and I thought, well, yes, it's going to take me longer, but who doesn't want a day off? Just chilling, fixing up their vehicle. Probably quite a lot of you don't want that, actually. It is scary business, fixing a vehicle. The next step now is to put a clear coat on that, just so it's a little shiny, because we all like shiny stuff. And then I'm going to black these bumpers. Now I'm only going to put like 1 or 2 coats, well, probably just one, of like this just matte black acrylic paint on. I just want it to look a little bit better. And I did these when I first got them. They're not that bad. They've just got little bits of overspray on them, and also you can just see where it's starting to fade. You know, the paint is just starting to fade away. Back ones as well, but I won't be doing them here. I'll probably take it home and do those, just because, well, it's a long old walk down there. But no, it's, I don't know, I might not have time today, so I might just get the front done today. I want to do the underneath today as well, see. So the underneath will be a simple wire wheel down, Q-rust where it's needed, and then probably some of that black paint I've just shown you, actually, or I might brush some paint on, I don't know, see what I've got. But yeah, just prevention is better than cure tactics, really, and it works. I mean, it does work, definitely. It's not the best thing in the world, and it doesn't look very professional, but it does work. Situation now where we are unmasking, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but the lights are fogged a little bit, which I'm surprised at, because I've not had a problem with one of those kits before. But they've fogged a bit, so I'm going to have to clean that UV protection off. I don't know why it's done that. Anyway, now we're getting ready to start masking up the bumpers. To do that, look at this. I just think I'm a genius sometimes. I mean, it's just, you know, what can I say? But yeah, so the bumpers are looking worse for wear, even more so before, because I didn't mask them properly, because I knew I was spraying them. But I'll give them a quick clean down. Now is the time to see me. No, now is the time to see what a bit of matte black acrylic paint can do. Quite good coverage. Simone's. This paint seems to be doing the same as what the other paint did on the other part. Have I left them in here freezing or something? So basically, this is going to be even worse than I originally anticipated it to be, which wasn't good to start with. Ah, it's looking better already. I'm sure it'll start to show through on the camera now because it's darker, it just looks better, you know, it's just that. Awesome. So that's all I'm going to do really. I just wanted it to darken back down, you know, I mean I'm not looking for perfection, it's a works vehicle. So I just wanted it to darken back down, which it has done. So I'll let it dry, just see how it settles, and then I'll come back to it. Maybe one quick coat over it again, just to make sure that it's, you know, got a decent coat layer over it. And then onto the other side. Still high as a kite. It's like that medium part now where I'm having a come down and going up all at the same time. So it's like mood swings. Anyway, I've pretty well completed-ish the thing like. The bumpers are now black again, which is nice. We've got, well, I can actually grab the phone probably. We've got silver sides rather than rust, which is also very nice. So that is how you don't fix your vehicle, and I'm going to do the underneath now as well, but there isn't really anything to see under there. It was already black anyway. All I'm going to do is just put a coat, just a nice thin coat of underseal. I don't advise using mental amounts of underseal because all it does is hide the problem then. But yeah, it looks great. I mean, it looks like I've took 5 years off the van's life. That's all I have to say, really. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I hope that you learned something. If you didn't learn something, then that's probably best because everything I do is wrong. But yeah, it's a bit of interesting ways of just fixing things real cheaply and just make your vehicle look a little bit better. I mean, it just looks a lot better than when I started. And I haven't put that much effort into it, you know. I could have put a little bit more time into masking. I could have put a little bit more time into preparation. Preparation is key a lot of the time. So I could have done more to make this better. But I didn't. I've done a quick job. And it's come out, I would say, 80% of what I wanted anyway. So that's great. So thanks for watching. And go fix your car. Or your van. Or your lorry. Or your bike. Or even your push bike. Any mode of transport is awesome. So just go fix it and get on it or in it and go. Well, don't, because the roads are already too congested. So just sit there and look at it and be happy. So, forgot to get air filters, like the idiot that I am. This one's not awful, but it's not good either. It's supposed to be white, so it's been through the wars a bit. This was new not that long ago, so I'm going to do some bangulating on it. And that's going to shake out some of the dust at least, and then that's about it really. Getting undressed slowly through the video, so, you know, starting the OnlyFans soon. Airbox is out because it's easier to pour oil in. Air filter is disgusting, but I forgot to get a spare one, so there's only loss of 1.38 horsepower. It's fine, I can handle it. That brings it down to about 704 horsepower, I think. So yeah, what can you do? 5 working days later. Ah. that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what you don't do. You don't drop the whole damn thing in the oil like an idiot. I think. I hate used oil. Really fucking hate it. Used oil sucks. Sing with me now. Used oil sucks. Used oil sucks. Get the vibration. Vibretto. That's what I was trying to say. Sucks. Come on. Right. Thank you. Always replace the O-rings on these. Always. But what I mean by that is that's the 7th time I've done an oil change on that O-ring and it's still fine. So, don't worry about it. My advice is to always wear gloves when you do oil changes. And remind me too while you're there, will you? Anywho's, everything's going back together now. It'll be a very basic setup. Everything back in and then fill up. So I shall see you soon. When putting oil in an engine, I use a bottle top. Like this one. Make sure it's completely clean. Paid 60p or something, 65p maybe. I had a lovely drink on a warm day, and now I have a filler-upperer. I think it's a great idea myself, but feel free to shout at me and call me all the names under the sun. Weld it on or what? Right, anyway. Oil. Map sensor here. And MAF sensor here need cleaning because they haven't been done in a while. So I shall do that. They are literally really simple to do, and I can't stress enough how much it's a good idea to do them. And the reason being is because near enough all engines, they get dirty. My other van started kangarooing the other day, and I was a bit like, oh God, what's wrong? It just turned out to be a slightly dirty MAF sensor. Cleaned it, doesn't do it anymore. They make a massive difference because it changes the whole fuel mixture of the engine if they're reading incorrect. So just do it. But it is gunked up something awful already. So that's not. So all you want to do this really is some carb cleaner. Any stuff will do, as long as it's carb cleaner and it's built to fight grime. Get it? Fight grime? Okay. And then I use a toothbrush, just lightly spray it, clean it. If you've got a straw, that's really useful actually. This is the last straw. Oh God. Right, give it a good old rub. So all I do with it, I mean most map sensors are similar, is I go up strokes like that. Because you don't want to press down or anything like that because you'll damage it, and then you don't want to be too rough either. So really, you just pretend you're cleaning the outside, and then the light amount of bristle that goes inside tends to move the grime. And then just go at it with some carb cleaner. The end result should be that you can see through it. And that means, and if you can see a little bit of colour of the sensor part inside itself, that's even better, because that means you've properly cleaned it. But yeah, so it's as simple as that, and that could change your miles per gallon, that could change your engine span, lifespan should I say. There's loads of things that can do if it's not working right. And of course visually check it, make sure the seal's working so you're not losing boost pressure, make sure that it doesn't look bent or broke. But yeah, it's that simple. And then the MAF sensor comes off on this pipe, so I take the whole pipe out. And this is as basic as the other one, really. But the difference is, with this one, you have to make sure you use the correct cleaner. The thing is not leaving any residue on this. And most cleaners do leave residue, even if you think they don't. And these go by electrical signals and heat and stuff like that. So if you've got anything on it, it will just send the wrong signals and then won't work. So it's best to make sure you use the correct cleaners for these. Okay, well this one's actually quite clean. Again, I haven't done them that long ago. I'll give it one quick spray just because it's out, but it doesn't need much. My boots on the loose. As you can see here, contact cleaner and repping Manol products again. Not sponsored, by the way. I wish I was. That'll do. And then you leave it out to dry. Contact cleaner will evaporate pretty quick, so if I had a higher definition camera, I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and get that happening on the camera. See the way it's evaporating or not? If you do, great. If not, it won't be in anyway, so that's great. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to quickly go over the underneath. Any area that doesn't look right under the underseal with a flathead screwdriver and just scrape away the underseal. I'm not a huge fan of underseal. If you've seen my videos, you probably know. I just look at it as, if the underseal's too thick, it's just going to form a barrier over the top and the rust is still going to come through the metal. You can't stop rust. But you don't see it in time, so it rots further and further and further before it gets bad enough to push the underseal off, and then you go, oh my god, I've got a massive hole. Which is exactly the story with this van. So the person who had it before undersealed everything, and now I'm on something like 16 plates of weld, because under the underseal it just rotted through, so... So, I found one pure example of this. That hole was hidden by underseal. So I didn't know it was there, so I haven't been treating it. And I just noticed the underseal turned slightly orange. So I thought, oh, I'll have a quick look at that. Yeah. That's a prime example of what I mean. So I'm glad I found this really, because what I can do now is clean it all out, get it ready for weld. I won't weld it just yet, but I'll get it ready for weld. And then obviously, not only is it not rotting further, but I now know what I've got to do. You know, I know what the situation is. So when I do my pre-winter checks, I will do the welding as well at the same time. Here I am again. So, ooh, that was clucky, wasn't it? We have finally got to the point where I have thrown some filler at it, completely messed that up. I've cleaned the lights off. I don't know if you could tell in the video before, but the lights were a bit misty. Just give them a polish. That's all they needed. So we've got this bit down here. And that's dusty as hell, but nearly ready to paint. No hole, which is good. That one, don't even ask what happened there. It all went wrong. It all went Pete Tong. And then down here I had a couple of really thin cracks, shall we say, which I've just gone over along here. De-dust them and then give them a coat of paint, and hopefully, all being well, they'll be good as new. It won't be good as new because it's not been done properly, but it'll do. I mean, as I keep saying, I'm not looking for perfection, just looking for a better look for this festival I'm going to. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered touching it until the actual pre-winter checks. I tend to do a complete overhaul of the vehicle every 6 months. It just keeps on top of things, you know. But this one was unexpected, and usually when I go to music festivals, I'm not caring what the vehicle looks like. But it's a bit different when you go into one where everyone's going for vehicular reasons. That's what's putting me off, just turning up with a shed. Anyway, to it. Shake what your mama gave you. Always give it a bit of a shake. Well, I think that looks a bit better. Just gone around, you know, the arch and just got it all looking a bit better. I also took the mud flaps off, don't know if anyone noticed that. So basically this hadn't dried and I put my finger in it, that's why it's a dip and not a flat. So that's great fun. But once the mud flaps back on and stuff, it won't be that noticeable. And then all of this. So that just looks loads better than it did. So yeah, it's pretty basic. Like, it's amazing the difference you can make with not a lot. I mean, it does take a lot of time sometimes. That's the only thing that I will say. It does take a lot of time sometimes, because you have to be careful with your painting and make sure that you get everything right. And sometimes you have to mask, and sometimes you have to be, you know, going around stuff that you don't want to paint. But otherwise, it's fine. I mean, this van, just from doing that today, a couple of hours work, you're probably looking at, it just looks younger, you know? Yeah. There will be other add-ons to this video, possibly. Might end up 2 videos, I don't know. I've got to do fuel filter, which I'm going to show people how to, because a lot of people get these wrong still, even though they've been out a long time. And on top of that, I'm going to service the windows-ish. They're just getting a bit slow, so you might see that as well. But yeah, we're getting on. So, the doors with electric windows, they are quite prone to water gets in them. I will show you how and everything now. And I do a yearly service of my electric windows. I've never had an electric window fail, so it must be doing something right. And that sort of slow, scary stop, then speed up and stop and all that sort of stuff doesn't do that either. But as soon as it starts to even get close to doing it, I sort it out. So I literally do the most basic thing, and luckily on this van it's very basic to do. So I'll show you what I do, and then you can go and have a crack at it with your vehicle. Whatever it is you've got, unless you don't have electric windows, in which case there's no point. But you can do it with windy windows as well. But you might not have them either. Like screws in here, and then there's just screws everywhere. And then all this thing comes off. Nice and basic. Hashtag lightweight. Who are you looking at? And then it'll start flopping about a bit, and you've got to do the old snap, crackle and pop. Oh, yeah, that broke, so that's great. I've took that off so many times. Let me show you what I mean. And the one time I record it is the time that it decides to break. So you do the thing on the thing with the thing on there, and then you break that finger. Oh, that was painful actually. So I've got to be doing it right, and then you. Ooh, I get high with a little help from my friends. Do you need anybody? Very small screwdriver into the very small hole to get this out, because it is just not wanting to budge. And with the right tool, it's off. But these runners that run down here, and this one that runs across here, they can get a bit gunged up, shall we say. And not only that, but generally there's no lubricant or anything on you. You don't really want anything, to be honest, because otherwise it'll smear your screen and stuff. So what I tend to do is just give them a WD-40 now and again, and just give them a clean, small amount of lubricant. And there's also, you can just about see, I mean you probably won't be able to see it all on the camera, but you can just about see it in there. There is like a rotating cog thing. That's like where the motor attaches to, and then it starts drawing things up and down, and stuff happens, and magic. And in some rubbish cases where it's like either really gritty or whatever, you're better off cleaning it out. You can use a small amount of like white grease or something, but I wouldn't advise using too much, because the more you put in there grease-wise, the more the dirt is going to stick to it. All of this dirt that just generally gets in there. And then the situation is then that you're going to have even more of a job to clean it. So really you just want it as clean as possible, with as least grit as possible, and a very, very small amount maybe of lubricant that nothing will stick to. Then you'll be alright. It'll be absolutely fine usually. I've never had a problem myself. If you don't, I can show you firsthand if you haven't seen my other videos. Because this ruddy thing is a part as well, but this is because the window does this. I don't know if you can actually see that very well, but the window opens, and that's because it all snapped and broke, and now the window just drops straight into the door if you're not keeping it stiff with something, shall we say, for no better word. But yeah, that's what happens if they get left too long, and it gets tight, and then the cables get stretched. Anyway, all sorts of stuff, but this is one way of avoiding that. I've got music and all sorts. So as you can see, I mean, it doesn't go down that badly, but I still do it because why not? You know what I mean? Do this. So, now it should be nice and quick, nice and free. You don't want it, if it starts slowing down and speeding back up, that's a problem. If it slows down towards the end, or slows down towards the top, don't worry so much about that, because They do tend to anyway, especially going up, because the motor's under strain. It's dragging that glass up through all of this fabricated sliding mechanism, so don't worry about that at all, really. If you do apply a grease to it, you want to clean the old grease away, and then start fresh every time, because otherwise it'll just build up and become a mess in the end, and you don't want that, because it puts extra stress on your motor, which of course then burns the motor out, yada yada. So should be nice and easy. See the way it was constant the whole way? That's what you want. If you got that, so reassembly is just the reverse, of course. It's always a good idea to guide the top with the window first. And if you can get, usually there's a top lip, so if you can line that lip up and make it drop down of its own accord, then usually, I say it, doesn't mean it'll happen. Right, so the top is lined up. Oh yeah, I know why, the plastic thing's broke, isn't it? So it's not clipping in anymore. If your plastic clips are broke like mine, you just have to line it up and hope everything's okay. Once you've got the first screw in place, you want to just check everything lines up. If you've got clips, you don't have to do this because the clips do it. But put the first screw in place, just check everything lines up as it should, which it is doing. And then once you've got one screw in place, you can start repositioning all this junk. And that's it. One of the things that everyone seems to struggle with these Mark 7s and Mark 6s, I think, is the fuel filters. And I'm going to struggle because I've lost it. No, it's here somewhere. The fuel filters. And the reason being is because these are self-bleeding systems. They don't have a pump-in tank. Now the Euro 5s onwards do, but the Euro 4s definitely don't. Anyway, it's something like that. Mark 6s and 7s don't have them. To the point where I've had people come to me with Transits and tell me not to change the fuel filter because they've had bad experiences with garages doing it. And in the end, I've talked them into it, and I've done it within 10 minutes, and they're like, why is it you can and they can't, you know? And I don't understand it. Maybe some of you will. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to show you right now exactly what to do. It's very quick and easy, especially if you've done it before and you haven't put the fuel filter on wrong or over tightened it, or it's been done in a decent time scale, because it won't be seized. You'll be able to get it off by hand and then put the new one on by hand. But yeah, something like this. So you've got your fuel filter down here. These housings that they're in, they can like split and stuff and let air in. They're a bit of a pain if they go wrong. So just be a bit careful when you're taking them off and putting the new ones on. The only way to be careful really is just don't do anything extreme. But yeah, usually they'll last as long as they're looked after. And the main thing of it really is to make sure you fill up the new one with diesel before you put it on the housing. And the reason for that is because you don't want any air in the system at all. This is the high pressure fuel pump here. This line here is the one that comes from the fuel filter. There's a little loop to the housing there, look, if you can see. So when this is drawing fuel, if that starts drawing air especially, it's going to overheat, it's going to damage it, stuff like that. So you don't want air, you don't want to be cranking it for ages either, trying to pull the fuel up. It's not good for these at all. You can put a bleeder
in between the housing and this pipe and bleed the diesel through, and that's absolutely fine. You can do that. The bleeding kits are very cheap. But again, you don't need to do that if you do the fuel thing. So I'm going to show you what I do, and I've never had a problem yet. So this will probably be the day now I've said that. You want to get everything ready when you take it off. You don't want it off too long either. It is kind of like they put that hole there on purpose, in a way. Because it does the job really, really well. Anyway, pour the fuel all over the front rather than all over where I want it. A slow old process. Then you want to take off the old one. Wow. It's coming. Crikey. That was one of the worst ones I've ever had, actually. Yeah, you can see it on the actual thing where it is really, really tight against it. I hope it hasn't damaged it. I'll go and put this down somewhere safe and then we'll fit that one. And then it literally just should do, pop up, twist, anti-clockwise. And it should go as far as it can and then stop. Sometimes they'll stop and they do need a little bit extra, but a lot of the time when they stop, that's it. And then with these, they've got a, they've got a thing on the bottom that tightens, and you want to check that that's not loose. Because if it is, it'll all leak out, and then the fan won't start, which isn't fun. Write the date on. And then you know what the crack is. And mileage, actually. So, fitted, date on, one extra check, not moving. So now, start the van, see if it starts. Textbook, or whatever they say. Sometimes it'll start and cut straight away, and then start it again, it'll be fine. Sometimes it won't start for a few more turns than it's normally going to start with. If it does that, it's fine. As long as it starts and then runs fine, you're good. So that is it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll get away from the fan that's making a row. And yeah,